Hi, I'm Angela Non.
I'm Ariana Kempis.
And this is BRB Crying.
Hey everyone, welcome back to BRB Crying. I'm Ariana, also known as Arns.
And I'm Nins.
Also known as...
Fuck. You know what? 12 episodes, still haven't nailed it quite yet.
Yeah, your name is really a hard thing to learn, so, have some grace.
Yeah. Nins, also known as Ange, also known as Angela.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't think you've ever referred to yourself as Ange on this podcast.
Yes, correct. In real life, I always refer to myself as Ange.
Many people refer to you.
Many people refer to me as Ange, and you're the only one that calls me Nins. And it was hard for us to...
Yeah.
I just figured, okay, Nins will be my podcast personality, but I don't know. The Ange naturally comes out.
Yeah.
So,
You are the only person who calls me Arns.
That's so not true.
It is.
Really?
Yes.
No, Mar calls you Arns for sure.
Sometimes, I guess.
No,
Yeah, actually,
she does.
Actually, never mind.
Exclusively.
Two people, you and one other person. No, that's still not very many.
That's true.
So
That's true.
and now the rest of the world will know us as Nins and Arns.
Arns and Nins.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back.
We're back. We're back to do this podcast where week after week after week,
Say it 12 times because it's the 12th episode.
we just keep on fucking crying and we keep on talking about it.
Yeah.
And we decided to press record while doing so. So that you can listen in.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah. And you can be like, wow, that would also make me cry.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I think the same things they do.
Yeah. Yes.
I like them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I want to be their friend.
Keep going.
I'm going to like all their social media posts.
I'm going to rate them 5 stars.
I am going to subscribe to their Substack.
Yes, you are. You are. And by the way, we have a Substack. So go and find our link in bio on Instagram. So on Instagram and all socials, we're brbcrying.podcast. And we will also link it in our show notes. But please follow us. We are so funny online. We're so funny in writing too.
It's crazy.
If you can believe it.
Yeah.
So that's my fucking pitch. Please, we're funny. I promise.
Please, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Substack is not only us being so funny and witty and cool, but we also share just more material that really resonated with us in some form. It'll be links to things that we found really interesting that we don't necessarily have the bandwidth to share on an episode, but we still thought it was important enough to blast out in some way or other. So,
and some reflections, some, cry thoughts, maybe even community building aspects. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Honestly.
Yeah. So I don't think, do you have anything else?
Just, I guess, checking in on my bestie. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went down a skincare rabbit hole this morning, found an influencer.
I was like, when you sent me that video of her perfect skin, I was like, I didn't know skin could do that.
I know. Is what I'm saying. And if you scroll back, she had cystic acne.
Really?
She struggled with a lot of stuff. And so to see that potential, it's just really cool how sometimes social media can open your eyes to things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's just so funny and honest. And I was like, you know what? I want to take this form of self-care upon myself. Like I want to really start taking care of myself that way.
Yeah. One of the things that I really love about like the skincare culture is that it's really trying to emphasize like not only finding that healthy version of you by taking care of yourself, but just like embracing the natural features of yourself by saying like, hey, you don't have to wear as much makeup if you can just take care of your skin, take care of you, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty penny, but
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
you know, I'm dabbling.
Yeah. What was the name of the creator?
I'm pretty sure her name is Pauline J. Choi.
Okay.
Honestly, I love when people are, okay, sorry, I'm a dick, but I love when people are funny enough to make me laugh. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean.
Yeah. When you don't have to do like a laugh because you feel obligated to.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
which I know none of you listening are actually doing because we're genuinely hilarious.
No, yeah, that was horrifying.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I was having a rough couple of weeks, but we've entered Virgo season. Hey.
Have we? Virgo season. Oh my gosh. What a time.
I know. I'm pretty sure this episode will publish the week of your birthday, I think.
I think it'll be right after my birthday. Yes.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. You know I cried.
I know. I was just going to say. Hope you've recovered from crying on your birthday.
I don't know what it is. I cry every birthday.
Yeah. Arns was like, she wrote in our group chat once, she's like, you know how you guys like always cry on your birthday, right? And we were like, babe, what? No. Might be the minority in this group, but I totally see that it's a thing. Birthday blues.
You know that song, It's My Birthday, I Can
Cry if
Oh,
I
no,
want
it's not birthday. Is it party or?
Oh, I think it's party.
Okay, well, anyway,
Yeah.
obviously I've internalized it as it's my birthday. I can cry if I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember a birthday I haven't cried. So,
Yeah. And that's fine. You know what?
oh, that's the fucking
That's
premise.
the whole fucking thesis of this. It's
true.
okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's actually fabulous.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, doing good, chugging along like we always do. We'll figure it out like we always do. That's what I got. That's what I got today.
All right. So should we get into it?
Just fucking do it, I guess.
All right.
Okay. Looks like you're starting off this week, Arns.
Yes, I am starting off. I would say it's a pretty short and sweet little one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because it's a personal thing.
Okay.
So, I don't have a ton to say.
Yeah?
Just kidding.
Are you sure? Us?
The biggest lie that's ever come out of my mouth. Yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about missing your long distance loved ones.
Okay.
So recently I went on a little trip to New York to visit my cousin, Jelly Pie, who I also coincidentally shouted out last week.
Yeah.
So, Jelly Pie, you're doing it,
Yeah.
And some context for everyone who does not know me personally. I have a cousin named Angelica. We call her Jelly Pie. And we grew up together. We all really grew up together.
Yeah.
But she really was more like my sister. We went to all the same schools, all of that. But then after school, our grandparents would pick us up. We have all these stories of us wrestling on the ground and like fighting over who could wake up my grandpa for coffee, things like that. So very much integrated in my childhood and my adult life. And so she lives in Brooklyn. And because of that, we really only see her like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Mostly just when she decides to come home. Holidays, maybe weddings. And I should probably say how we're related. Maybe that doesn't matter. Our dads are brothers, if you cared. She is only 9 months younger than me. So we were the closest cousins in age growing up to each other.
Yeah.
So because she lives so far away and we only see her when she comes home, we decided we would try and make a trip out there to see her. It was just 4 or 5 days. It was really short. But I have a child, so I'm not planning anything. Virgo who?
For once in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is, she's one of the few people who I could trust to piece together the itinerary.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to have an incredible time no matter what she chose.
Yeah. Does she also have Virgo in her chart? Because she's also really excellent.
Yes, but I don't think she has her birth certificate, so she doesn't know for sure. But there's no way she doesn't because she's so there's some sort of earth sign there for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So she had this whole itinerary planned, and it was so thoughtful. It was like she knows what it's like to have a kid. Not that was very misleading.
Excuse me.
I'm so sorry. That was so misleading.
News.
She does not have a kid, but she has her nieces and her nephews, and she knows what it's like. And so it was just one big thing every day, and then a meal. But the caveat for all of it was it's all flexible. And I was like, I could have cried just looking at that. I was like, oh my God, farmers markets, museums, Central Park, ferry ride, incredible food. And I like how I said that I don't have a lot to say, and everything I just said is not even on my fucking notes. Anyway, I don't have your stamina. I can't recount this whole trip. But I will tell you my highlights.
Sure.
Give you a little taste.
Yeah.
So my first highlight, I have 3 that I wrote down. So my first one was seeing this incredible community that she's built after living there for how many years? And I mean, we're walking down the street near her apartment building, and she's saying hi to people. She knows their dogs' names, and they're having conversations, actually catching up about their lives. We're eating at this one restaurant, and a friend passes by, and they're like, hey. And they're like, oh, are you going to this later? And they're like, yeah, we'll see you there. And it's like, oh my God, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's very different from the life I lead, at least. And it made me realize that I could be way more intentional about cultivating community, not just online, what we're doing here, but even the people around me. And so I've been like, I mean, my neighbors are old and stuff, but I try and wave to them now. And I will probably, if I see them around, just standing outside their house, I'll probably try and talk to them more. And so that was a really cool thing to see. And then another highlight for me was when we were at Central Park. I'd been there before, but I didn't know there was a lake in the middle. And we walked around it, and we went to all her favorite nooks and crannies. It felt like we were in a rainforest almost. It was so beautiful. There were these birds chirping, and it was such a great escape from the heat. And Sana knocked out instantly in her stroller. And I was like, that's how you fucking know this is a vibe, when she falls asleep. And so that was just a really cool little reprieve from being in the city. And my last favorite moment that I wanted to highlight was, so she has a courtyard in her apartment building, and there is a corner just full of kids' toys. There's scooters and bikes and slides and wagons, and everything is dirty and rusty and half working. But we went to the courtyard and we were just messing around. We were like sitting on the wagons, pushing each other around. And it was just so fun. And it was such a playful moment. And for me, it was like I had kind of been transported back to just this common thread throughout our whole lives. Just being young together, and
you could be kids again.
Being kids again.
Being girls together.
Yeah, it was like that.
And Jomar's just kind of there.
Yeah, Jomar and her partner Jay. No. I mean, it was all, but I feel that way a lot at home because I have Sana. But to feel it with other people too is really refreshing.
Who were there when you were genuinely that age.
Exactly. And what's funny is that could have been anywhere. We didn't have to be in the middle of Brooklyn doing that. So yeah, that was, I think, my favorite moment of the whole trip. But overall, incredible. I will say the travel piece itself, horrible.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Check-in was overweight, trying to do the mad scramble.
Oh my God, they waited?
Yeah. There was...
Oh, you forgot like the diaper bag or something?
I forgot the fucking diaper changing pad. Oh my God, my heart's racing a little bit. Like, oh my God, that was such a big fuck up, you know? And then when we landed, so if you have a kid and you're ever visiting New York, bring your own fucking car seat, because I had done research and we thought that Uber and Lyft would have car seats because that's what it said. They were rolling this out.
Okay.
It's kind of true, but it takes like over an hour to try and get someone to agree to it.
Yeah.
And even like leaving, going back home from her place to the airport, I got canceled on like 3 times, even though I scheduled it the night before. Yeah, it was bad. And also TSA, they tell you can bring liquids for a baby as long as it's for a baby. And so I had a jar of milk. And we almost missed our flight because they held us up. Because they had to have a specialist come. Oh, we need the specialist to come test. And I'm like, do you want my kid to fucking drink the milk right now and prove that it's safe?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah.
But other than that, great time.
Yeah. But all of it is to say
Yes.
that it's worth it.
Oh.
Because the moment you're there, this is what you're experiencing.
100%. 100%. So yeah. With all that context said, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that whole piece of saying goodbye to people when you're leaving. So I think I've mentioned this in a prior episode. I tend to get wistful during goodbyes. And normally I brush it off. I'll tear up, but I'll brush it off and suppress the sadness a little bit and act casual and wipe my tears away and laugh at myself for being silly. Because in the grand scheme of things, saying goodbye to someone doesn't feel like that big of a deal. It feels like there are so many worse things that could warrant sadness and tears. And so in my mind, it's like,
Especially if it's not the last goodbye.
exactly. Yeah, it's just a see you in a couple months, probably.
Yeah.
So this time when we were saying goodbye, Uber canceled on us 3 times. So I was we were scrambling at that point. I didn't have that time to be sad. But when we finally got into the car, I'm very quiet and Jomar turns over to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just like, the tears are just coming down because for the first time ever, saying goodbye to a loved one who's far away, I actually thought about it and I was like, oh, I love this person so much and they're really far. And as much as technology can bridge that gap, as much as we have FaceTime to stay connected, and it's true, we do stay connected way more than people used to. But it's different when you're in person with someone. Here right now, you forget the way they walk, their little mannerisms, the way they laugh, and you miss out on that mindless chatter about nothing. So this brought to mind that statistic that came out. I think it was an article a couple of years ago where they said that if you have loved ones that are aging, like your parents or whatever, and you only see them a couple times a year, and then they only live for 20 more years, you're only going to see them like so many times before they pass. And I don't know. I remember reading that for the first time and being a little startled by that. But, not really as applicable to me or so I thought. But it's true. Like for as long as my cousin and all our other loved ones who live far, all my other best friends who live far away, for the rest of our lives, I'm only going to see them so many times. So when we were in that car, I really let that sadness steep, and I didn't try to brush it off. I didn't try to laugh it off. I didn't try to pretend I was fine. I just cried and cried and cried, and I thought, wow, I'm gonna miss her so much. And how unlucky for me that someone I love so much lives so far away. And how unlucky for any of us who have loved ones who are really far away. You can't just hug them when you want to hug them. It was just the first time I'd ever really let myself be sad about it. And again, yes, technology. Yes, ways to stay connected. At least you have these people in your life who you could feel this way about. I know this is true, but whenever we or anyone else are sad or hurt about something, and I'm so guilty of this too, we always try to jump to a solution or a silver lining or something to comfort that person. You know, when someone passes, it's like, at least they're in a better place. I wrote, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at, you know, that fucking shit.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
You fucking know. But yeah, we cheapen our pain and our sadness, and we're not giving our hurt the space it deserves because we are so afraid of feeling even an ounce of discomfort. And like we always say, sometimes you just have to fucking cry about it and feel like shit about it, because feeling that pain is, in a way, acknowledging how profound that love is in your life. In a way, it is a form of gratitude. You're recognizing that. And that's why it hurts so much. And I know you have loved ones that are far away too. You have a best friend that's far away too. And I'm really not trying to give advice or a solution. I don't want to do that. Just affirmation that I fucking know that it sucks. I know how you feel if you do have loved ones that are far. And most days it's easy. You know, most days it's like, it's chill. Again, there are ways to stay connected. But other times you're saying goodbye to that person and it's really hard and it's really sad. And that's okay. We don't have to try and explain the pain away. We don't have to try and pretend it's not there. We don't have to stifle it. We shouldn't. I don't know, maybe if you have a loved one and you say goodbye to them, maybe next time, let yourself just wallow in it, you know? Let yourself recognize how much it hurts.
Everything you said, I agree with wholeheartedly, especially with being physically around a person, because the FaceTimes and all of that, it does seem almost ceremonious. Like, okay, are you going to be available at this time?
You schedule it.
Yeah.
You ask very focused questions about how they're doing.
Yeah.
And you're just catching up.
Yes. But there is such a stress-free joy of just sitting on a couch. And even if you're both dicking around on your phones, at least you're together and you feel that proximity and you can watch them do nothing. And it's just like, oh, this is great. And it's hard because you adapt so easily and say, oh yeah, if this is my new normal, how wonderful. And then those goodbyes come and it's like, wait, I have to go back to my other life. And that adjustment period is the hardest part because part of you is still there, wanting to be in that space where you're just on that couch. And you said most days it's easy because those are the days when we not forget, but it's not as raw. Yeah, those are painful. Especially when it's someone that has seen so many versions of you.
Every version
of you, where there's like no need to talk. It's just kind of a look at you and I get what you're feeling. I get what you're thinking. And yeah, we should treasure those. We should feel how we feel about those people wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I know I talked a lot. I only talked about my cousin today, but you know, my other best friends, I know you're listening. Like my best friend, Nikki. I mean, I haven't seen her in like 2 years and we see each other maybe every few years. And that statistic again, it's like, we're most likely never going to live in the same place ever again. So what, I'm going to see her maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 more times. And that's really sad.
It's almost not even, I mean, for me, I don't necessarily have as many loved ones that are physically far away. Don't worry, Marty. Yes, you're like one of the few. But for me, it's not even the physical distance. It's the fact that there are people who were in my life that I was so close to at some point. And for one reason or another, we just don't see each other that much, even though they're 40 minutes away, you know. They're just the next town over, but life happens. We enter these new phases in our lives. We have children, we get married, we go to a different job. It's just like a sadness of like what that time in our life was like, and missing that closeness.
Yeah.
There's no solution.
There isn't. You really just have to sit with it.
And that's okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah. Whoever you are, miss you.
Love you. All right.
This might be a hard one for me to get through.
Oh,
It'll start out really fun.
okay. So I guess not really a hard pivot.
In what sense? That we cry about it?
Fair. Fair. All right, I'm ready.
All right. Oh, you didn't say your cry level. I realize that we keep forgetting to fucking do this.
I know,
like
and
the one structure.
When I write the blog post, I make it up. 5 out of 10 tears for everything.
Yeah.
I'm 5 out of 10 tears.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 out of 10.
This one is 3 out of 10, but I think it's because I'm suppressing.
Oh.
We're still learning how to unleash. But before I reveal my topic today, I unfortunately have to take us back to a time from not too long ago. The month is March. The year is 2020. Let me set the scene. Your dining room is converted into a makeshift office. You have cords flailing about on your floor.
It's starting to sound vaguely familiar.
Your husband's whipping a Dalgona coffee every other day.
Oh my God.
You go on Instagram. Every story is a push-up challenge or drawing fruit. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Everyone was like a fucking artist drawing oranges. I was like, how the fuck are you doing this with the shading and stuff? I couldn't do it.
The bread.
Oh, the bread. Oh my God. Plants. I'm obviously clearly talking about the first quarantine during the COVID-19 pandemic. And those will be the only descriptive settings that I will include here, because I think we all fucking know like how traumatizing it all was. But we were stuck at home. We were left to our own devices, looking for anything to distract us from what was happening in the world. And what was one such distraction for me? A game. Serendipitously released on March 20th, 2020. It was a low-stakes social simulation that allowed us to create our own worlds, spend our days planting trees and fishing and picking out cute furniture and forgetting everything around us. And I am, of course, talking about
Animal Crossing.
New Horizons.
You know, I never played it.
Really?
I didn't have my own
Switch?
Yeah, so I was just sitting there behind people's shoulders watching. But I fucking know what you're talking about. So go on. Yes.
Okay. But first, for those of you listening, context. Let's fucking hit it. Okay. So Animal Crossing was a game that was first released, like in the very, very beginning, was first released on the Nintendo 64 in 2001. And it was conceptualized and created by Katsuya Eguchi and Hisashi Nogami. And the game is a first-person human character that lives in a village inhabited by various anthropomorphic animals. And
what is anthropomorphic? I don't even I can't even say it.
Anthropomorphic.
What does that mean?
It's like animals that talk and like they wear clothes and they act like humans.
Okay. So it means animals acting like humans.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And the goal of the game is nothing. You basically just live, in this case for New Horizons, you live on an island and you just develop this island and you do low stress tasks and chores, accumulating wealth by fishing or farming or crafting and then selling your goods in the market.
Just like in real life.
Capitalism. And it's basically just a cozy, open-ended game that you can mold into anything that you want it to be. And there have been several different installments since its first release in 2001. So we have City Folk, Wide World, New Leaf, and then this latest version, New Horizons. So full transparency, like you, I never played these when I was young, even though they've been around since I was a wee young tot. Just kidding. I was like 8 years old. But I never picked up the game until I was at the ripe old age of 27 because I just literally had nothing else to do at that point.
Did you already own a Switch?
I already owned a Switch. Me and Lou shared a Switch. So Lou downloads the game on the Switch and then he's playing it. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm playing Animal Crossing. You want to play? And he hands me the thing. And like one of the first tasks that you do on this basically remote deserted island. Yum. One of the first things that you do, you literally like walk around, you press A, and it's you picking up weeds. You're just cleaning up this island. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was so
Give me that.
exactly. Like, I could do this all fucking day, you know, just very easy, mindless things on this cutesy little game. Hooked, you know? To me, it was just like the perfect escape. And I wasn't alone in thinking this because everyone was talking about this. It was all over like Instagram stories. Everyone was talking about it on Twitter and, you know, sharing these cute little pics of their islands. And one of the best parts was that even though we were all cooped up at home, this version of Animal Crossing allowed you to virtually visit other people's islands. And then people started doing fucking insane shit. Weddings. Graduation ceremonies. Oh. I mean, truly like peak unhinged quarantine behavior. You know what I mean? So a lot of our friends had grown up playing these games and they were pretty familiar with the functions of the games, how to accumulate wealth pretty quickly, and like how to create all these really cute custom designs. And people were creating fucking like masterpieces on their islands. If you ever go on Pinterest and type in Animal Crossing inspiration, insane. It's like art, really, what they can do on it. But again, this was my first time playing it. So everything was new to me. And I was really surprised by a lot of the features on this game. And one of the things that really caught me by surprise were these occasional pieces of mail that get delivered to your house just randomly. So when you turn on the game, there's usually like some announcement about what's happening on the island that day. And then the next frame is you coming out of your house. And right outside your house, there's a little mailbox and it kind of flashes if you have new mail. And sometimes the mail is like annoying bills from Tom Nook, capitalist lord that you constantly owe money to. Other times it's funny little notes from the other villagers on the island. But every once in a while, you get a letter from mom. Did you know this?
Mm-mm.
It's these letters that I want to focus on today. Letters from mom in Animal Crossing. So to put the story together, I whipped out the Switch. I haven't played this in a while, but I whipped it out and I scrolled all the way to the bottom of my mailbox. And I scrolled back to the very first letter I ever got from this computer-generated mom of mine. And it's a letter that's sent to every player once they first move onto this island. And it reads, "My dear Ange," because that was the name I picked, "how is your new life treating you? Are you eating well? Brushing your teeth? Washing behind your ears? Oh dear, I'm all worked up. Here's a little something to help you out." And she gives you like a piece of fruit. "Eat it or plant it, but think of me, Mom." And she doesn't send you letters every day. They kind of happen at random. You don't really know when she's going to send you one, but these letters are all just short and sweet little notes. And I went down a rabbit hole and looked up every single letter that you can receive from Mom in every version of this game. It was like 100 letters, right?
Oh my God.
And these letters, as simple as they offer this wonderful picture of who this mother is. And sometimes they're funny and silly. For example, "My dear Ange, I decided to lose a few pounds, so I started doing aerobics. What a fiasco. It's a long story, but your dad ended up calling the fire department. Firemen are cute. Love, Mom." And then each year on your birthday, she'll send you a birthday card. "My dear Ange, do you remember when we first met? Of course not, silly, but it was on this very day. If that's not cause to celebrate, I don't know what is. Happy birthday, Mom." And then enclosed in the letter is like a small little birthday cake that she made you. And some of my favorite ones are of her just writing to share a special moment that she supposedly have, this fake mom. "Darling Ange, there was a full moon tonight. Looking up at it, I couldn't help but see your big silly grin. I smiled too, Mom." It's like, dude.
Who is writing these?
And here's another moment that she just decided to share. "My dear Ange, the house is covered in snow like a thick blanket, one that's cold and wet. As I battle the bitter cold, I think of you and so through the night. Stay warm, my child, Mom." So, yeah, again, they're just such simple notes, short and succinct, yet in those few words, they capture what it feels like to be loved by your mom. And sometimes it can come off as annoying, as all moms are at some point, even though you know the intention was coming from a place of loving concern. "Dear Ange, would it kill you to visit your folks once in a while? We miss you. I think about you often, and your dad, well, he misses you too, but you know how he is. Your ever-loving Mom." And then sometimes they're just words of pure love. "My dear Ange, you know, as a mother, I'll never let go of my precious memories of you. Like those fabulous, fun-filled 46 hours I spent in labor. You were worth every minute, weren't you? Heart, Mom." Now, the whole point of this game is to create our own world and live our own fake life. And even though it's all made up and it's all pretend, every once in a while you can still find those small glimpses of humanity that seep through. And in my research, I came across this feature that the National Video Game Museum did on Animal Crossing. And they shared some context behind the inspiration of the game. And in this article, Katsuya Iguchi, one of the creators, talks about moving to Kyoto in 1986 when he first joined Nintendo as a designer. And he says, When I moved there, I left my family and friends behind. In doing so, I realized that being close to them, being able to spend time with them, talk to them, play with them, was such a great, important thing. I wondered for a long time if there would be a way to recreate that feeling, and that was the impetus behind the original Animal Crossing. Well, he fucking crushed it. I just realized as I was reading that how relevant that was to your story. Unplanned. But yeah, the game, especially during the pandemic, offered that exact feeling of feeling connected and finding some peace with the villagers, with other players that were also online, but also through these letters from Mom. And you and I will come back time and time again to this theme of how simple things can be. And even though a mother's love is probably one of the most powerful forces in the universe, it's crazy that it can be expressed in just a few short sentences in a cutesy little game about living on an island with a bunch of animals. And there was one article I came across written by Alex Shervin-Venett, who talks about her experience playing this game shortly after her mother died of cancer and what it felt like to receive these letters. And she wrote, "On my birthday this year, quote, Mom sent me a letter in Animal Crossing. It read, 'You'll always be my baby.' Attached was a birthday cake, which I placed on the kitchen table in my on-screen house. I teared up, overwhelmed, opening my gift from Animal Crossing Mom, knowing I won't ever get a real card or cake from my mother again. At the same time, it was a strange comfort. It felt good to pretend, for a moment, that my mom could send me a message from the beyond." And I read that and I was like, dude, it's true. You know, I think especially when we're going through hard things, it just feels so fucking good to pretend. I know that there were other players like Venett having this strange experience getting these letters from their moms who have passed. But I know for a lot of us whose mothers are still around, the experience could still be a disorienting one because, you know, there are lucky ones out there that can look at their moms and say definitively, like, this is my favorite person, this is my best friend. But I know that there's also a lot of us who have more complex relationships with our mothers, especially as we get older. Because after all, no mother-child relationship is a perfect one. And sometimes it can be hard. It can be really hard. But in this game, it's easy. And the thing about this game and these letters, it doesn't really offer you a complete picture of who this mother is. We're left to imagine her ourselves. We can fill in the gaps. We can finish the narrative about who this is that's sending us these notes. And she's lovely, and she's funny, and she loves us, and she loved raising us. And even though she may not understand some of our choices, she's always there to offer her support. We can bring more dimension to this character with our own imagination. We can pull inspiration from our real life mothers, or we can pretend we have what we've always wanted in a mom. So, yeah, when things are hard, we can allow ourselves to feel shitty, but we can also allow ourselves to indulge, even for just a moment, and escape into a fun little world where we can find some temporary peace and bask in the warmth of unconditional love that only a mom can provide. You want to see some?
Oh, yeah.
I made a little PowerPoint for you just so you can see the graphics. So I'm sharing a collection of the ones that I liked most with Arns. Feel free to read any out loud that you like.
My dear Abby, so did the groundhog see its shadow today or not? I saw your father's shadow. It seems to grow wider every year. Someone was in charge of these letters and they were like, this is going to be my little creative writing exercise.
I tried so hard to figure out like who wrote these, but I couldn't find anything on it. I'm sure it's a whole team of people behind it, you know?
Which makes me think like maybe some of those people on that team were like what you were saying, people who didn't necessarily have the mom that they needed or wanted. Someone who couldn't necessarily be there for them the way they needed them to be. Someone who couldn't necessarily love them the way they needed to be. And I wonder if anyone out there was writing these and saying, it would have been nice to get a letter like this from my mom.
Yeah. Or it could also just be the amalgamation of everyone's mom.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know about those letters.
Like, just let me pick weeds. Like, why you gotta fucking shove this in my face?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting too is that on the game, when you receive mail, you can always reply. Like if a villager sends you a note, you can send them a note back. Mm-hmm. But with mom, you can't. There's no obligation to. There's no work that you need to do to maintain a relationship with mom. It's just automatic. It's easy. It's just there, you know?
It doesn't matter what you do or don't do. Her love doesn't change. Mm-hmm. That is really interesting. Mm-hmm. But probably one of the truest parts of being a mom.
Oh, for sure. Love that.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, dude. Incredible work. Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Nintendo, props.
Well,
that's our show.
Did we do it again?
I think so. I think we did it again.
I think we did it again, too.
Yeah. You told a story.
You told a story. Well, this is the part where we beg you to follow us on socials, beerbecrying.podcast. Sign up for our newsletter in the link in bio. Send us a sob story or a recommendation for something that you think would make us cry. You can find that on our website, beerbecryingpodcast.com, or you can email us, hello@beerbecryingpodcast.com. You can even DM us if you wanted to. Honestly, we just love hearing from you all. Mm-hmm. Probably the best part of this gig.
For sure. And the crazy part too is that if you do just one of those things that Arns mentioned, you get a prize. And that prize is you become a crybaby.
Yeah. Congratulations in advance. Mm-hmm. We forgot to add to that list a 5-star rating.
Only 5 stars.
Only 5 stars.
You're not a crybaby unless it's 5 stars.
Yeah. Yes.
You're just a baby. I think that's fucking it.
That's fucking it.
Truthfully, that's all we got. That's all I can muster for today. Mm-hmm. So let me rest.
Mm-hmm. And you too.
Yeah.
You go rest, dear listener.
We'll rest. Mm-hmm. And then we'll come back.
Oh my God. Yes. Like rising from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But until then,
BRB crying.